Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Salazar Insight. As I come to you today, we're going through some very challenging times in our life. Never in recent times have we been placed in a situation where we've been put through certain restrictions that we're not used to, including things such as not letting our kids go to school, not being able to go to work, not being able to go out and socialize. These are things that we're not used to. And as a result, I know that there are a lot of people out there that are going through many emotions, many thoughts, many feelings. And I know that there's a lot of information that's being shared through media, which is a good thing because that's our means of getting information. Unfortunately, we know that sometimes it's a little bit to the extreme, or a little bit hype, but nonetheless, during these times, they're an important source of information. We're also getting a lot of information from public safety personnel, from all the public officials, which again is their job, and we look to them. But despite all that, there's still a lot of questions and thoughts that are going through people's minds. So I thought it'd be an important thing for me to put out a video and give you my perspective, again, from someone that is not involved in any public interest and is not dealing with any politics or anything like that. Just someone that I can tell you that I've dealt through several situations. I was around when HIV/AIDS first came around. I was actively involved in patient care back then, and the big fear of dealing with blood. We had to deal with the war in Iraq, Desert Storm, and what was going on in the world at that time. We had the Y2K situation, had 9/11 that I was involved with, and unfortunately that hit close to home. And a few other situations that we've had in the past that we've had to prepare for. But never in recent times have we been in a situation like this where it's something that has impacted not only us here in this country, but also across the entire world. So this is something that's really, moving to a whole new level. As a result, I know that there's a lot of people going through a lot of questions to their minds. But I want to go over a couple of things for you to keep in mind. The first and foremost is remember that the situation that we're going through, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And you hear things about people blaming, what country is responsible for it, or who didn't do what, or what should have been done, and all these different things. And let me just tell you, when it comes to that, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing anyone can do about that. So being upset about how it happened and all that, it's not going to do anything to help you. Then we look at other things that we're being told. And, some people think that it's, a little bit to the extreme. Well, now people think as well, we're acting too late, or what took so long. What happens either way, when we're told to do something, we don't like it. So when we're first told is, well, don't go out there and don't do things that's going to, put you close to other people. I was, yeah, that doesn't impact me. And no one pays attention. And then when people start getting sick, people are like, oh, the government should have done something sooner. So at the end of the day, either way, someone's going to be unhappy. Well, let me just tell you something, folks. If we're going to be unhappy, upset, complaining, and whining through all this, it's going to make it so difficult to get through these times. These are the situations where you actually have to realize, okay, this is a situation we're dealing with. We didn't ask for it. Nobody likes it. These are the cards that we're dealt with. How can we make the best of it? Right? So instead of complaining, being upset, and all these other feelings that go through our mind, let's try to take a more proactive approach. Now, it is much easier for me to say this to you than for you to actually do it. I know, and I go through it myself. It is not easy when you have your kids home all day, that you're used to being they're in school and they have a schedule and they're used to a routine. You're used to going to work, you have a routine. When you come home, you do certain things. If you're a stay-home mom or stay-home dad, you know that you have time for yourself. All that's out the window now. So what we have to do is we have to regroup and see, okay, how are we going to get through this? And the fact of the matter is we also have to realize that this is probably going to be take a little bit longer than we think. We're in for the long haul. So we have to see is how can we make this good for everybody? So a couple of things that I want you to consider. First of all is stop thinking of all those thoughts that go through your mind that are not going to help you. Being upset, resentful, and all this is not good. Because remember, from thoughts, you get feelings. And from feelings, we end up with actions or inactions. So if your thoughts are upset, blaming, complaining, whining, that's going to give you those feelings of, oh, why us? Why me? What's going on? Let's blame someone else. And as a result, you're not going to get any action, right? Because you're too busy blaming others or feeling sorry for what's going on. Not going to help. Instead, let's go ahead and take a more proactive approach and say, all right, we have this to do. What are some things that we keep in mind? And I'm going to share some with you. First of all, one of the most important things in times of difficulty is try to maintain a routine, especially for kids. A lot of them right now, I think, oh, this is playtime, this is break, early spring break. Well, folks, that's really not the case. Keep in mind, and you got to remind your kids this, that if nothing was going on, they'd be in school. So it's important to try to establish a routine for them. Now, I know and I understand that this is a challenge for lots of you, especially for working parents, where you're being told to work from home, and now the kids are at home and they're asking for stuff and you're trying to do things. So it's not easy, but it's important to try and plan something out. Tell your kids, make sure that you're doing things, for school. A lot of the schools are trying to do things online, at home. This is great. And, let's think of that's an advantage that we have right now, because years ago, there was no online. There was no phones. There was nothing that you can do distance learning wise. Now we do, so let's take that to our advantage. So try to establish a routine at home. Have the kids wake up at the same time or maybe a little bit later. Get them used to, if they used to do their lunches, have them do their lunches. That's an important thing. So that's an important, if you can do it. If not, I know it's a challenge, do the best that you can. If you're working from home, that's also a new thing. Some of you might be used to telecommuting, and that's great, but others are not, especially having kids at home. So it's important to make sure that you establish a routine for that. Now, in addition to it, being stuck indoors with family members or with friends could be a challenge. It is important to establish alone time. Especially, mom's been working all day or dad and is stressed out. Say, okay, from this time to this time, mom's going to do whatever she wants, whether it be go out for a ride, or just, be in her room, read, whatever. Give her some downtime. Kids need that also. It's important for them to also have some downtime on that. So establish routines, have some downtime for each other. Make sure also take this opportunity to do some things together. While of course we know that we cannot do things with big groups, but as a family, now unless if you have a family more than 9 and you can't have more groups of 10, well then you're gonna have to split your family up. But for the most part, you have a family of 3 or 4 or 5, you can actually do things outdoors. Even game night at home, you can do that. So there are a lot of opportunities. So my key message for you guys here is take this time, make it a time of an opportunity. Don't just take the challenge and say, oh, we're in for, a lot of problems. We're in for a lot of challenges. Yes, but it should be economic, health. I mean, that's a challenge also. What are you doing to keep healthy? Gyms are closed, right? So make sure you go outside and do some activity. That's important. But emotional stand is very important, especially for the elderly people, very young. And let's keep in mind that thankfully, lots of us, are not infected by it. And if we were get infected, we can probably fight it off. But keep in mind, all those elderly people, all those people that are at high risk, they have a real challenge to deal with. So when you think about it and look at your situation, probably not as bad. Now, if you are dealing with having been exposed and also having to deal with loved ones that are sick, yes, that is very challenging, and I know it's tough times. And again, you'll be able to work through those. It's a very challenging time, but again, it's an opportunity. For those of you that have been following my videos, you might remember that I told you at the end of last year that I wanted you for 2020 to do something new and step out of your comfort zone. Well, guess what, folks? Whether you like it or not, we've all been forced out of our comfort zone. So when we're out of our comfort zone, it's an opportunity for us to grow. And out of this, besides the traditional, typical lessons learned that will happen and all that, there are things that we'll be able to look back and say, wow, we were able to get through this. So if you realize it, one way or another, you're going to get through it. So you can make it miserable or you can make it as best as you can during these times. So again, please don't complain, don't whine, see what you can do to take advantage of these times to do something, family time or alone time. But again, we're in this for a long haul. Let's make the best of it. Also, as I mentioned before, this is an opportunity that if you can learn something new. Go online, take a course, or do something that you haven't done before. Again, not easy if you have everybody surrounding you at home. But regardless, do the best that you can. Control your thoughts and your emotions, right? Because we're going to have thoughts. If you try to keep them in a situation that are positive, that'll lead to some good thoughts and some good actions. Being upset, being mad is not going to help. So be nice to everybody that you come in contact. If you come in contact, can stay 6 feet away. But again, these are the times for us to come together, and we will get through this. One way or another, we will get through this. All right. So For everyone out there, especially those that are on the front line, our public safety personnel, our doctors, our nurses, everyone that is responsible for our health and our safety, let's think about them, pray for them, be thankful. Also our leaders, right? And most important, ask what is it that we can do to help each other out, right? I hope this helps. I hope this is something that you can consider and maybe just think about a bit and see what is it that you can do to make a difference. And folks, as I always say, remember to live to learn and learn to live. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and please feel free to share this. If you have any comments, please list them below. Thank you. Have a great day.